Good morning. It's Wednesday morning. It's 9 o'clock, and I'm here with Norma Talks. Last week on Wednesday, I talked about faith and beliefs and trust. Today, I'm calling this part two because I realized that when I ended, I didn't really talk about how beliefs are created. You hear, if you get into any kind of self growth, what are your belief systems? What do you believe about here, this, that, or the other? And the interesting thing is that we don't always consider as how those beliefs got created, or where did they come from? What were they? Where are they? Now we also talk a lot about the subconscious mind, because it's in this subconscious mind that the beliefs are held. And these are the beliefs that you live your life by, even if you're aware of them or not. That's what occurs. Now, the interesting thing is with beliefs, some beliefs have been created in other lifetimes or others, maybe even planets, that we bring with us and have with us. But basically, your childhood is really, really important. What happens as you were growing up? How were you treated? Were you put down a lot? Were you made fun of? And there's two ways we could really. I was just reading a novel actually where there's a child had gone through this. Well, actually, several people in the story, where one was not allowed to express themselves. Be good, be quiet, don't say anything. So suppression. So the belief system was they didn't have anything really to say when it came for verbal. Another one was the opposite, was totally denied, all sorts of beaten. I don't know about being. I had my few whoopings, as they talk about, when I was young, for sure. But I almost antagonized that because that would give me the attention that I wanted. So I had to learn how to count it to stop that. But what I'm getting at is whatever your childhood is, we reach back in our memory banks and kind of make decisions that we've made in other lifetimes or other times. The whole issue is that we keep repeating the same belief systems. We don't go and change them unless we really work at it or become aware of them. So what happens with the belief system is that it gets structured. We structure it, and then it becomes a part of us. And it is housed in the subconscious mind. I mean, I have mentioned that in the last less than a year now, I was showing how to actually get into the subconscious mind and pull the program on certain beliefs if they so desired to clear them. And up until then, I would done a lot of clearing of energies and blockings that have really helped people, including myself. But the same point is that now that I had an opportunity to go in and clear, it's like pulling a plug actually. It's clear, but clearing it right out, a whole belief structure. What there's been some interesting side effects of that actually is because now the people don't always know quite how to relate, because they've had this set of belief systems on which they've had faith in, and I'll tie those two together. And so consequently, it's like, how am I supposed to act? What am I supposed to do? And consciously, you're trying to find out because you're used to acting or reacting a certain way. Now that has shifted and changed. So yes, on one hand, we're saying we want change very often. And on the other hand, we are needing to understand what some of these belief systems do or create within our lifetimes. And is that really what we're wanting? So what are beliefs actually? Is viewpoints that we have decided is how to live, how to be, how to create. And they come by repetition, first of all. We repeat them. And they're unfortunately very often subconscious, meaning that we don't really reach into the consciousness that that's what's happening, that we're reacting to circumstances. and they become habits. We don't kind of put together the subconscious belief structure and our habitual behavior, but actually it's all tied into one big, you might say, big bowl of soup or stew. The important thing is first is to be able to identify. I'm still identifying some of my belief structures that I put in as a child. It's like as the more you clear the top, new ones bubble up. And it's, sometimes I get lazy and don't always deal with them, but you begin to recognize how you respond in certain circumstances. And the key is that how you want to respond? Because it'll be based on the belief structure that you've come to have faith in. And faith is not something we go and say, oh, yeah, we have faith in this. We might say we believe in this, but it's that underlying word of faith, having faith in the self, having faith in life, having faith in others. The belief structure that you've created, does it work for you? Does it add to you? Does it give you what you require? Or do you find yourself getting angry or upset, withdrawing, sulking, you know, and having those thoughts like nobody really cares, nobody really loves me anyway, different things like that. Very often, as I said already, it's come from a lot of that's come from childhood, but it's created. Sometimes their family, the whole family will hold a certain belief within itself. And if we want to tie that into having faith, you will have some faith in what is consistent. We tend to think faith is about God or about the grand design or the Mother Earth or whatever it is you've decided is the most important faith element. But it's more than that. How much faith do you have in yourself? Do you believe that you can do what you want to do? Or do you have faith that you're not worthy and you're separate from everybody, that nobody understands who you are and nobody understands what's going on? These are all belief structures that you have created, usually young. And as life goes on, we create new ones. Some of them, maybe not so serious, but you still are living with these different beliefs. Now, I came through years of self-growth and awareness and different instructors and different teachers and different elements. And what happened was I would say, you practice certain things I was being taught. Some of them I didn't like for me. Just they didn't fit. They didn't fit me. They didn't fit my viewpoint of the world. And so I let them go. But other ones I began to have faith in. When I first began to learn to read tarot cards, I was, how old was I? 20 years old approximately. Yeah. Yes, that would be correct. 20 years old. I had one baby. I was married with a baby in a new country. And what my husband and I started learning at the same time. He dropped out really quickly because his interest was more astrology than anything. Years later, I found that I wasn't, astrology and me didn't suit, which was fine. And that's the other thing, is to find where you fit in the whole plan of everything. So what I'm trying to get at is that what I began to do is I began to practice with these symbologies, obeying basically what my teacher was teaching me. And what I found was it opened up things, but it still did not explain what happens in the subconscious. When I started going into university, taking psychology courses and things, and people started talking about the subconscious, it took me a while to begin to put that together. And that came from several different places where I was learning how important the subconscious was. And then when I began to do my clearing work, I had a space for subconscious because it would come up. And I began more I'm saying that not incorrectly. I began to explore more to see what this subconscious was. Energy, belief structures, I understood. The subconscious, I know it was a part of us that isn't seen. The thing is, that's where our habits come from. That's where our basic beliefs come from. That's what's being put in. You know the old saying, you put in what comes out? Like, it doesn't matter what you do here, it comes out. So it's like being able to go in and be able to transform some of these old belief systems that run. Now, they may, as I said, happened in a past life, and we found that a lot of different past life belief systems that we, through past life regressions, we're able to shift and change for people. Today I can go in and shift that anyway, but it's really about being aware of what's working in your life. That's the main question is, so how do you want your life to work? And are you doing anything about changing anything so your life works more like you want it to work? I'm drawing designs on my table here. You're wondering what my hands are doing down on, which you can't see. I'm trying to just keep the idea of what I'm wanting to say here, because I didn't make any notes earlier, so it's just coming straight out of our way and as we're going along, which of course is what I often do. Now, because this all began with somebody asking me to talk about faith. And I realized faith really comes in what you believe. So if you believe you're not good enough, if you believe that you can't do something, if you believe, so where did the beliefs come from? They come from decisions you make as a reaction to whatever is occurring or occurred to you or around you. So let's just think about that. They are stored in your subconscious mind. In other words, they go and become a part of your whole beingness. So you respond to things without thinking. A lot of people get angry. A lot of people get sad. I was raised in a household where you didn't get angry, so it was difficult for me to even get in touch with my own personal anger. But it's very important that you do, because that's when everything is at the edge. But it's not good if you're acting out. So there's lots of levels of learning. So what happens in that subconscious mind, and what I found when I was showing how to go in and unplug some of these programs, because in dealing with the clearing of energy for people, and I found I can't get into the subconscious of a person until all those what I call top parts are cleared. There's no way I can get down there. You just don't open the door and say, okay, subconscious, here we go. People may say that, but what you're doing is you're changing things as you're working down. But once you can clear all the different beliefs, energy things that you're working with, and get an idea, so you've got a bit more clarity, then I found, for me anyway, when I was showing, I can go in and literally pull out the program. But you just can't take a program out without putting something in. So then the energy that you put in there, trustingly, is going to offset what we pull out. So that's a whole thing I find a lot of people don't understand about transformational energy. Transformational energy is about that, transforming the energy. It's not like you cannot take something out, because you know what? Your body will just recreate what you already had. And that's what a lot of people I find don't really understand, is that the system, your system, is really, it's what it is a system of creating. And once it is formulated, so if I want to take something out, I have to put something in. Now, when I'm working on just basically clearing, chakras, different other levels, male, female systems, there's many of the systems there. I have to move my hands out, because what I do, move that out, let that go. I have to put something back in there, because if I don't, your system will recreate what it had already. And so whatever monies you put out there, whatever time you put out there, won't mean a thing. Whether we're doing a past life work where we're looking at these past lives and clearing, what I found was until we began to bring in the new energy into this present body here in present time and reintegrate, found we were holding the energy from before and clearing that out and bringing the sort of new wonderful energy in, the body just recreates what it knows. So many of you will be working on what I call mental changing, mental bringing forward. And what you'll find is that you seem to not progress. And the reason for that is because you have not re-put it in. You cannot take something away without putting something in. And that's why when we talk about transformational work, it's really important. Now, the same thing is with your belief structure. If you can identify a behavior or a belief that keeps cropping up, then you can clear that, but you must replace it with something. And the key, that's where I find often people don't know quite what to replace that with. Well, I just usually put a whole lot of different energy in there that's loving and caring and knowing that you're okay, so that you can move forward. But you've got to have I'm realizing very strongly by some of the reactions of people who we've done this with, is they've got to be really clear on their conscious thought of how everything responds and acts. So just take a look at this, sort of to review this a little bit. Your faith is in what you already know, what you have been taught, what you have experienced and believe, because it is the belief systems that you really have belief in. You'll say, oh, I have faith in life. Well, what's the belief systems behind that? What does the belief system talk about life? Oh, I believe in God. Well, which God? What kind of God? Because that's where it'll be. I believe in, you hear this a lot, I believe in Jesus. Well, where is that the only thing? And what part of Jesus's work do you believe in? Like once you're getting asking why or how, sometimes it can really open up all sorts of other things. But the key is, what is working for you? If it works for you and you have a happy life and you resolve your issues, no one's going to complain about that. That's what you want. That's what you do. But if you're frustrated, if you feel that you don't have a place in this world, and many people that I've worked with feel like that, feel like no matter what they say, no one takes into an account. Nobody cares. Nobody loves them, basically. So where does that come from? Did it come from being how you were treated as a child? Did it come from because certain circumstances happened and you reached back into your past life memories and brought through an old decision that you made maybe centuries ago? And then it sits in the subconscious and in your reality. Well, we could say it's all in your subconscious. That's just whether you raise it to the surface or not. We have abilities, many abilities we don't even realize that we have. There's many ways we can do things, but I think it's what's important to realize that your faith, people say, I have faith in this. Well, I can say that. I have faith in my tarot. I have faith in my children. I have faith in many other things that have happened. My friends, because you get to know them and you get to know what to expect from them too, in a way. And remember, everybody has their own pluses and minuses. And so it's really about how do we gel into the society, and the feeling of being ostracized, or the feeling that you're not welcomed, or the feeling, that you're pushed out, like there's no place for me. That belief becomes you have faith that it's not going to work. You don't know how to handle it. You don't know what it's going to do or be. And what ends up happening in the life is that you become more and more isolated and have less and less belief in who you are and what you are, in etc. So there's many aspects of this, but so we're going to, what we want to just to sort of recap, throughout your soul journey, there have been decisions you've made about circumstances that you've taken into, and we're talking about souls here, not just this life at the moment. And that becomes, in a way, what we call your personal programming that resides in what we call the subconscious mind. So you have many lifetimes and you have different things happening on other planets, because I know that's true because I've seen that. And so you've done lots of things, and then you arrive on this planet. Now, this planet, according to me, and many of you have heard me say this before, this planet is not like other planets. There are some like us, but they're rare too. This planet is alive. It feels, and so it's a feeling planet. Most places I have visited are very mental. They all are very logical, mental, that you deal on that part. This planet doesn't. This planet deals with feelings. And even though you might want to not want to get into your feelings, so to speak, that's how the planet works. You will feel here. The body talks to you. This body that we inhabit here talks to us, and it talks to us through feelings. It understands feelings because the planet works with that. And that's why we honor the planet, because the planet is a viable organism. Anyway, I won't go on to my experiences with some of that right now. But what I'm saying, when you come here, you're used to being in a mental environment. So you apply this to this world. It's all up here. But the reality is not. Your value is in how does the feelings, because the feelings are going out anyway, whether you know them or not. And this is where that subconscious we talk about is where everything is stored. It is stored with what you feel. I jumped a bit ahead. I wanted to really make clear. One of the things I say to my clients is that feelings are your body's way of talking to you. So name them. The more you name your feelings, they'll dissipate. If you bury them, they get stronger because they want to be acknowledged. They want to be recognized. They want you to know. So it's like feelings. So the thing is, most of us, depending, again, as I spoke earlier, the childhood is very important. How you were treated as a child. How did you respond? And how do you feel about yourself? Because it triggers decisions that you made in other lifetimes. And because your soul essence that's come into this time, in this body, whether it's gone through many, many lifetimes on earth, which I had done before, or all the other times you've been in another planet or another space. Sometimes there's spaces that you're in. I find them very nice, actually. But that's, again, not what I'm talking about today. What do you have faith in? So to really understand the changing of that, you've got to really take a good look at what you believe. You can't take them all on at once either. You got to take a look. Well, what's my belief? Bottom line belief, how I interact with people. What's my bottom line belief? What's stopping me from being all that I can be? A lot of people run into that. I certainly did. And it's like going back and understanding all that so that you can get clear and then be able to choose which way you want to go in clearing it out. So when people say, oh, it's in your subconscious, you just don't get to your subconscious like that. There's ways we can help and clear, but to get there, I found you've got to do a lot of clearing first. And the key is, if you know, it's like if you're going on a journey, and I'm a traveler, I love to travel places. is that when you go on a journey, you leave and you've got your destination ahead and you just drive, well, or a plane or whatever. We don't have trains around here. So you just either be driving or in a plane going where you want to go. And it'll take as long as it takes to get there. So I live in the West, so if I'm driving towards the east, we know it's going to take several days to get there. So you're driving for several days. And we are very similar to that. We have to dig. And most people don't want to make that commitment. They just shrug their shoulders and say, oh, well, whatever. And they carry on. But for those of us that really are aware that we want to be, for me, it was to become as clear as I possibly could. And I spent a lot of years doing different types to clear out and get reconnected with, you might say, the love force. And my guides were great. They taught me for years, and they were with me when I was making being able to do all sorts of things. And they still show me. They were the ones recently that came and showed me how to clear these subconscious minds there. But it's the work you have to do beforehand, before you get there. I find some of my clients have already done a lot of clearing, and we can get there very fast once we take care of a few bits and pieces. Some of them, they're not ready yet to go down to that level. So many things happen to beliefs. Beliefs are the decisions that you made that this is real. People don't like me. I get along with everybody really well. All things are part of the whole. There's little statements like that become embedded in people, and then it helps create their life. And we have hundreds of those. It's not just one or two beliefs. We have a top layer, new glasses, but loose yet. So anyhow, what I want you to understand is you have faith in the decisions that you made throughout your life. That's what you have faith in. Even if you want to have faith in something else, if you don't have those belief structures supporting that won't work. So you have to change the belief structure first in order to get the faith that you want. That's why we would go to church. I went to different metaphysical churches here. As a kid, I went to other churches. But you go to church to be in a community that thinks similar, to help you create the belief structure. You go to different meetings, or, I'm just going to mention AA for a moment. People go to AA to meet with people who have similar issues so that they can talk about them, and their beliefs can change. And as their belief changes, their faith in that new belief gets strong, and that happens in the world. So you need to take a look at what your beliefs are. What is my belief? Do I believe I can be a success? Do I believe that other people will accept me and care for me as I am? There's loads of, like, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different ways you can have a belief structure put together. But the point is, that belief structure is what creates a new world, because it has a vibration of thought. And the thing is, because you haven't altered the belief structure, the faith line, the faith element of life is taking place all the time. Sounds a little dire, but it isn't really. It's just understanding, because most of us live that way. It took me years and years and years to figure a lot of this. But I was lucky. I had what they call guides to help me, taught me at night. And then when I began to channel things, they would come and they would give information to groups that I was channeling for. And of course, I always remembered. I always would sit back and allow them to use my voice. But I learned so many different things, because this experience of life can be easy and can be hard. And even when you know a lot of things, you still have obstacles to deal with. Because that's the challenge of this life. How are you going to let your basic belief And I'm going to use the word faith here. If you're going to use faith because something isn't going the way you think it should. How we handle obstacles is one of the big keys. Do we have faith in ourselves to overcome them? Life is full of what do we call that when it out pictures different things that we can learn from. And so it's the magic of life, of having the belief structure of, actually, you may back up on bit here. Knowing that you have a belief structure that you have faith in. You take a look at your belief structure. Don't beat yourself up because you don't have faith. You have faith. You have the faith that nothing works. You have faith that everything will work. And then you get surprised when something doesn't. It's like that's the dichotomy of life. And that's how growth occurs. When we begin to go inside and take a look at what are these beliefs and notice sometimes the DNA, if you ever seen a picture of the DNA structure, they have these little balls and then they have the offshoots. That's our belief structure. Believe me, it's just like that. And it's like we have the ability, the opportunity to go in and change the belief structure, change our faith. And as we change our faith and it begins to work, because we've changed our belief structure, we begin to trust it. Because that other thing I put in last Wednesday was trust. But actually, that's the last thing, is that we trust it. Unfortunately, we end up usually, when I say, if we're going into transforming the belief structures so that we have a different level of faith, so we have a different faith and a different awareness of where we're heading and where we're going. Well, it feels a little jumbled in my mind, and I trust it makes sense as I'm talking. I like to think I make sense. That's one of my belief structures. And I really, I just wish you well. And sitting back sometimes and just watching your thinking process. Something I've done a lot is I sit back and I watch the thoughts go ticker-taping over my conscious mind. That's when you'll catch different belief structures that will come up. That's when you'll see sometimes the beliefs that are stopping you. And the thing is, what you need to realize is that somewhere along the line of your lives, or your life, this life, is that you've had faith in that thought form, that belief. Otherwise, it would not be perpetuating. Faith is a very, very interesting thing. We think it's something that's big and it's out here, but it really isn't, because we practice it every day because of our belief system. We have faith in life to act out what we believe, whether it's conscious or not, the reality. And if we don't like that reality, we have to change our belief structure and go from there. Just as a side, before I wrap up, because this all came into me, I have a lot of little tricks mentally that I've used and I impart to people to change things. And I find, I'm laughing at this, it's like they walk out the door and forget everything I said. Because I'll say, oh, did you practice this? Or did you do this? Or did you, some little exercises I found helped pull things together the way I would want them. And they look at me kind of with a glazed look. Oh, yeah. And you know that probably 5 minutes, it's gone. Because what I say does not fit with the belief structure that they have, which they have faith in. But it hasn't worked. And so when someone comes along, and you may find this in your life, if someone comes along and says, this, I was around growth for years, and people would give me different things, try this, and I try it. And sometimes it wasn't just suitable for me. It wasn't that it didn't work. It was just that it didn't fit. But why didn't it fit? Because my belief structure deep down was saying, this is what I wanted, not that. And that's quite okay. But I always smile sometimes that they didn't even try. They didn't even give this a go. But anyway, That's life. And I'm just suggesting you sit back, watch your thoughts go across your mind, and see what is supporting you and what you want in your life and what isn't. And remember, I've talked about this. When it comes to thoughts, which is what comes up to show us, you freeze the thought in reality, you evaporate it, and then you must replace it with something, and you want to replace it with what you want or something better or whatever. So that's a simple little it's a trick. I guess you could say a mental trick, but it works. I spent years doing that, working to clean up my thinking. And even sometimes now I have to stop and say, oh, I've slipped back into old habits. Come on, let's get this right. So freeze, evaporate, replace. Whatever you're dealing with and you want to transform, those are basically what is needed to be done. So you do that, and then your belief structures begin to change, and then your faith in how life will treat you or be for you will change. You'll begin to have faith in a different way. Anyway, that ends for today. I wish you all well. I just want to say hi to Karen B, as we call her on Monday nights, and Yvonne. Good morning. And I have to say this. Karen says, "Thank you so much. I like your new eyeglasses. Thank you. They're a little loose. I just put them on." One of the things, this comment, I was having trouble with my regular glasses, which are fine for every day. So I went to the optometrist thinking I needed new glasses. They said, no, you just need glasses for the computer. So they've got two lenses, apparently. One, and it's true. I can read these really well today. I'm not peering. I just have to look over and raise my chin a little bit. There it is, clear as a duck. And that's actually synonymous of life. How are we looking at life? That's your faith. That's your belief. The two together, you have a belief, you have faith in that belief, and that's what life looks like. Change the perspective. Change the energy, change the way it looks. So now I can sit here and I can look over at the comment section. So on Monday nights, if you ever watch Mental Mind Treatments, I'm peering over because I couldn't read them. That's why I went to the optometrist, and he was very nice and basically said, your glasses are fine, but for when you work with your computer like you're working. So I have one lens for looking here and one lens for looking down, and that's when I'm reading my cards and doing transformation work. I have to do both, right? So there's always an answer. Sometimes we may not like it, or we wish it was a bit different. I know I have to go back and get these tightened a little bit more, but that's great. That's how we learn. And I just love it. I just put my eyes over there and I can see everybody. I used to have so much trouble on a Monday night. Anyway, Wednesday morning, I trust, I believe that somebody will hear this and realize, oh, yeah, I can do that. I can make that change. Wish you well. Thank you. I shall see you Sunday for Sunday Thought, and again on Monday. Have a great day.